Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India and the United States set an ambitious trade goal of more than doubling bilateral trade to 500 billion USD. The US welcomes India's recent measures to lower tariffs in the 2025 budget. World leaders converge in Munich for a security conference. Russia skips the meet. The US Vice President Vance says that Europe should play a bigger role in managing its own security. And the 38th National Games conclude in Uttarakhand with the Home Minister of India Amit Shah presiding over the closing ceremony. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has successfully concluded a productive and substantive visit to the United States. Making greater strides in the India-US special relationship, the US President Donald Trump welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a hug saying, "We missed you a lot." Showing his regard towards the Indian Prime Minister, Trump also pulled out a chair for the Prime Minister. And Trump presented Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a signed copy of the book Our Journey Together and wrote a personal message on it that read, "Mr. Prime Minister, you are great." The book is a compilation of the photos of their past interactions. Donald Trump hailed Prime Minister Modi's negotiating skills and called him a better negotiator during the news conference after their bilateral meeting on Thursday. Donald Trump also called him a great leader. Prime Minister Modi expressed delight in meeting the US President.
Yes, go ahead, please.
This is Saurabh Shukla from News Mobile. Mr. President, you spoke about Prime Minister Modi as a tough negotiator. Who was a tougher negotiator today and who has a better negotiating tactic when it comes to tariffs?
Oh, he's a much tougher negotiator than me, and he's a much better negotiator than me. There's not even a contest. Okay?
Well, India and the United States are setting the stage for a groundbreaking trade partnership with ambitious goals in mind. And to this end, the two sides, they set a bold new goal for bilateral trade under Mission 500. And this is aiming to more than double the total bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. Here's a report.
Tariffs was a sticking point between the two countries right from the beginning of the visit. But the talks happened in a conducive environment with both sides putting out their concerns, and the leaders mandated their officials to work out a comprehensive deal on trade that addresses the issue of tariffs and market access.
In a historic announcement on Thursday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump unveiled their target to boost bilateral trade to a staggering $500 billion by 2030, doubling the current figures. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening economic ties between the oldest and largest democracies.
अमेरिका के लोग राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के मोटो मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन यानी मागा से परिचित है। भारत के लोग भी विरासत और विकास की पटरी पर विकसित भारत 2047 के दृढ़ संकल्प को लेकर तेज गति शक्ति से विकास की ओर अग्रसर है। अमेरिका की भाषा में कहूं तो विकसित भारत का मतलब मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन यानी मिगा।
Energy security for India has emerged as a key issue in trade talks. PM Modi highlighted the importance of increasing oil and gas trade to ensure India's energy security. The two countries are also ramping up their cooperation in the nuclear energy field, especially in the development of small modular reactors.
द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2030 तक 2 गुना से भी अधिक बढ़ाकर $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। हमारी टीमें एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को शीघ्र संपन्न करने पर काम करेगी।
The announcement comes as the US and India work towards finalizing a mutually beneficial trade agreement that would focus on cutting tariffs and improving access to each other's markets. As both nations look to expand trade, the issue of tariffs remains a topic of discussion. The proposed trade deal aims to reduce these barriers, making it easier for businesses to thrive on both sides.
We're just going to get along well. We're going to get along with all countries. We're going to do very well. We're going to be doing, I think, record business, record numbers. And we're going to work with India also. We have some very big trade deals to announce in the very near future.
The key takeaway from PM Modi's US visit is clear. India and the US are working hand in hand towards a future of shared growth and opportunity. With a focus on energy, defense and trade, the two nations are setting a new course for bilateral ties and partnerships. Amritpal Singh from Washington, D.C., DD India.
Well, US President Donald Trump on Thursday offered to sell state-of-the-art military platforms to India as he and Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled a long roadmap, that is, to rev up defense partnership between the two countries.
US President Donald Trump welcomed Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a long handshake and a warm hug at his Oval Office in the White House. He described the Prime Minister as a great friend for a long time.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's US visit was a short but significant one. Beyond resetting the trade ties, the two leaders advocated for closer engagement in defense, space, critical technologies and more.
The warmth and bonhomie is not limited to this meeting alone. It is, in fact, also reflecting in ever-increasing trust and partnerships in key areas of high-end defense platforms too. The joint statement highlighted that the leaders reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to a dynamic defense partnership spanning multiple domains. Both the leaders announced plans to sign this year a new 10-year framework for the US-India major defense partnership in the 21st century.
अमेरिका की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। स्ट्रैटेजिक और ट्रस्टेड पार्टनर के नाते हम जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट, जॉइंट प्रोडक्शन और ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की दिशा में सक्रिय रूप से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। अगले दशक के लिए डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन फ्रेमवर्क बनाया जाएगा। डिफेंस इंटरऑपरेबिलिटी, लॉजिस्टिक्स, रिपेयर और मेंटेनेंस भी इसके मुख्य भाग होंगे।
The leaders also pledged to accelerate defense technology cooperation across space, air defense, missile, maritime, and undersea technologies. The United States has announced a review of its policy on releasing fifth-generation fighters and undersea systems to India. Both the leaders also pledged to elevate military cooperation across all domains that will include air, land, sea, space, and cyberspace, and it will be done through enhanced training, exercises, and operations incorporating the latest technologies. With inputs from Shubhendu Ghosh in Washington, D.C., Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, US President Donald Trump has announced that his administration has approved the extradition of Tahawwur Rana. Now, he's wanted by India for his role in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. He's going to face justice in India.
The key and perhaps biggest takeaways from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump's bilateral meeting is the US administration's decision to extradite Tahawwur Rana.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India to face justice.
Rana is a Canadian national of Pakistani origin and is one of the main plotter of the dastardly 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. He is an associate of Pakistani-American terrorist David Coleman Headley. Headley was one of the main conspirators of the 26/11 attacks. The US Supreme Court on January 21st this year declined to hear a review petition from Rana on his extradition. India has been working with American authorities for early extradition of Rana.
On Tahawwur Rana, I think I addressed this in an earlier press conference as well. This is an issue on which the U.S. authorities have taken very clear decisions. I think you've seen the president announce it himself from the White House podium, the decision of the United States to extradite him. It's reflected there in the joint statement as well. We are working on the logistics of this, his surrender and extradition to India. There are a few final steps to be completed. The two sides are in touch on this particular issue.
Rana was based in the city of Chicago and was convicted in 2011 and sentenced to 13 years in prison. He is currently lodged at a metropolitan detention center in Los Angeles. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, world leaders have gathered at the 61st Munich Security Conference. It began today and is going to run through till February 16th. The event is being attended by over 60 heads of state and government. The Ukrainian President Zelensky and the US Vice President J.D. Vance are set to meet during the conference. Germany is hosting this major event, which has drawn significant attention due to the ongoing global security concerns. The Munich Security Conference follows a recent telephone conversation between US President Donald Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, during which Trump stated that Ukraine could neither regain all of its land nor join NATO. So, upon his arrival at the Munich Security Conference on Friday, the US Vice President J.D. Vance told the media that President Trump wants NATO to allocate more resources towards defense.
The President's desire to see NATO spend a little bit more resources on defense, and I know that's something Secretary General Rana agrees with me on. We're going to talk, of course, about the Ukraine-Russia conflict and how to bring it to a negotiated settlement, and I'm sure we'll talk about some other areas of cooperation too. I mean, my high-level argument to these folks is, look, Europe is, of course, a very important ally of the United States.
And while speaking with Vance, the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has acknowledged the Trump administration's concerns about defense spending within NATO. Rutte remarked, and I quote, "This is a problem that we have both in the US and the rest of NATO. We're simply not producing enough."
Europe stepping up, the European part of NATO stepping up, you're absolutely right. It has to be done. We have to grow up in that sense and spend much more. We also have to discuss the defense industrial base. Of course, this is a problem we have both in the US and in the rest of NATO. We are simply not producing enough.
Well, Russia is not attending the Munich Security Conference this year. It's not been invited, in fact. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova has criticized the event, saying that it has shifted from a security-focused platform to one that supports Kiev and promotes policies harmful to Europe's own security. Moscow's absence marks another sign of deepening divisions between Russia and the West. The U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also said on Friday during a visit to Warsaw that the European countries must invest in their own defense, as the United States' presence on the continent cannot be assumed to last forever. Now, still to come here on DD India Live. Major national protest is scheduled on the 15th of February in Serbia. And Hamas publishes the names of 3 hostages to be released on Saturday. You're watching DD India Live. My name is Mark Lynn. Now, in the latest from the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, Hamas has published the names of 3 hostages. They are going to be released on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The hostages to be released are Sasha Alexander Trufanov, Sagai Dekel Chen, and Le Horn. They are confirmed by the spokesperson for Hamas's armed wing. And this comes after Israel warned on Thursday that if Hamas does not free these 3 living hostages as scheduled, military operations would resume.
Work in place for the release of our hostages. There are important markers, there are important steps on this framework. That framework makes clear that 3 live hostages must be released by Hamas terrorists on Saturday. If Hamas adhere to the agreement, indeed if they violate this agreement and do not release our hostages, the government has made clear that it has instructed our armed forces, and we have already amassed forces inside and surrounding Gaza. So, if those 3 are not released, if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end.
Meanwhile, aid and fuel trucks continued to roll through Gaza on Friday, a day before the next round of the expected release of hostages in the already fragile ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel. Ahead of a major national protest scheduled on the 15th of February in Serbia, students and actors, they marched from Belgrade to the central city of Kragujevac. What they are doing is, this is a scheduled protest. It marks the anniversary of the first Serbian uprising against the Turks and the signing of the constitution of Kragujevac, which happened in 1835. A high-level delegation from India, led by Mr. K.D. Dewal, I beg your pardon, Dewal, not Dewai, Dewal, who's a joint secretary of counterterrorism in the Ministry of External Affairs, is currently in Tanzania, and this is the second joint working group, the meeting on counterterrorism between India and Tanzania. The delegation visited various facilities of the Tanzanian police force. The delegation also visited the Police Forensic Bureau and met with the tactical team of the Tanzanian police force in the presence of the acting IGP, Commissioner of Police Charles Mukumbo. More news from around the world now. And a fatal collision between a 4-seated cycle and a car in the town of New Zealand's Martinborough has killed 1 British cyclist and injured 3 others badly. So local police is investigating the cause of this accident. The United Nations Refugee Agency has voiced concern at the rapidly deteriorating situation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo on Friday because of the seize of Congo by the M23 rebels. According to UNHCR, the war had left around 350,000 displaced people and no roof over their heads, and at least 3,000 people were dead. The San Agustin Cambe Tours project, it has worked to transform a neighborhood in the southwestern hills of Venezuela's capital, Caracas. This is from a history of violence to a tourism destination for locals and foreigner visitors after years of community work. Under the project that has gained prominence in recent years, residents and visitors can find leisure and entertainment for $40. Okay, news from the National Games now. And India's 38th National Games has concluded. It was a grand closing ceremony in the northern state of Uttarakhand. It happened on Friday. India's Home Minister Amit Shah graced the occasion. He was the chief guest in Haldwani town. Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia, the Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, and other dignitaries were present at the event. The Services Sports Control Board emerged as the overall champions for the fifth time at the Games, reclaiming the prestigious Raja Balindra Trophy, and they dominated the medal tally with 68 gold, 26 silver and 27 bronze medals, securing a total of 121 medals. Maharashtra finished second and Haryana followed closely in the third place. The International Cricket Council has announced prize money for the Men's Champions Trophy, which has seen a jump of 53% from the 2017 edition. The total prize money is $6.9 million for the tournament, which takes place in Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates. The winners of the tournament will earn $2.24 million, while the runners-up is going to get $1.12 million. The losing semi-finals, where they're going to walk away with $560,000. The 8 teams have been divided into 2 groups of 4, with the top 2 teams in each group progressing to the semi-finals. The tournament commences on February 19. It's going to start in Pakistan, and the final is going to take place on March 9. The Norwegian middle distance runner Jakob Ingebrigtsen has broken a world record. This is in a mile record. This is the world indoor mile record at the World Athletics Indoor Tour Gold Medal meeting. It happened on Thursday. The 24-year-old Norwegian, he finished the mile with a time of 3 minutes 45.14 seconds. This happened in Leven, and saw the reigning Olympic 5,000 meter champion being beaten. In fact, beating the time of 3 minutes 46.63, which was run by the American Yared Nuguse. This is at the Millrose Games in New York last year. Ingebrigtsen also broke the indoor 1,500 record that he set on the same track 3 years ago, clocking 3 minutes 29.63 seconds and then holding on for the final half lap to add the mile record. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lynn from all of us here. Thank you for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.